Hi, I'm Ngozi Elobike, and I am the winner of the Go Overseas Scholarship to study abroad in Ireland from 2021 to 2022. So I wanted to share with you my essay that I wrote as well as my vision board, talk about my hopes, aspirations, and some of the things that really inspired me not only to apply for this scholarship, but to have a chance to study a year in Ireland. I have my computer here in front of me so that I can read from it. And so the prompt is, write a letter to your future self as if you won the scholarship and are studying abroad in Ireland for free. What would you say to your future self? Start with 1 year from now, I. So, this is my take. 1 year from now, the weight of my body is barely being supported by my weak arms, clinging onto the iron rods. Bending my back into a spoon shape isn't helping matters either, and I'm beginning to regret lowering myself into this small opening. However, I need the gift of gab from the Blarney Stone for my dissertation presentation, so there's no turning back now. Swatting away the looming fear of herpes, I pucker my lips and plant a quick peck on the stone. As I straighten into a standing position, a loud laugh bubbles up from my chest. My travel buddy, who also doubles as my classmate, claps her hand over mine as she tags herself in for a lip-locking session. We decided on a spontaneous trip to the Blarney Castle with nothing more than 2 oversized weekend bags. The adventure is a long ways away from our campus in Dublin. Back in Dublin, I am a scholar in University College Dublin's newly redesigned Race, Migration and Decolonial Studies program. Back in Dublin, I'm a scholar in University College Dublin newly redesigned program, Race, Migration and Decolonial Studies. The program is pioneering change in the field. Day to day in the course, we explore the intersections of conflict, migration, and race. There is no better backdrop for this investigation than the global city of Dublin. My program has gifted me with a new academic toolkit. After a few short months, I can name drop important historical figures. I'm able to pore over literary canon, and I get giddy when introduced to new theoretical frameworks. Yes, I am still just as nerdy. With my education, I unite people, create transformative social infrastructure, and have open discourse. I write research essays through a humanizing lens and cultivate new forms of diplomacy. To help in the process, I use my training as a 2020 Total Organizing Academy Fellow. There is an added layer to my work: health. Health outcomes are inextricable from social factors that I'm learning are relevant for COVID-19. As an emerging global health practitioner and public engagement team member for race and health, I have the advocacy tools to promote global health equity across different backgrounds. Ultimately, 2021 is the year that I knit together cross-cultural narratives. This work is a continuation of an investigation I began in 2020. Last year, as an MSc student in Global Health and Development, I boldly undertook a dissertation about race, gender, decolonization, and global health at University College London. Inquiry earned me a distinction as well as an award for my master's dissertation by Global Health 50/50. The momentum from my work lives on at UCD. The program is rare and aligns perfectly to fill in current knowledge gaps. I continue to charter new territory in the field. Most importantly, migration stories and critical race theory are pivotal for our increasingly globalized world. My own migration story to Ireland has given me invaluable experiences. I've curated a great Luke Kelly folk playlist. I've taken serious losses during pub quizzes. I've been mesmerized by the Irish jig footwork. I've spent Christmas with my diverse group of friends. I've nailed my recipe for bangers and mash. I've gone on one too many shopping sprees at Deals. I've reached out to Education Ireland and Diversity Abroad to promote inclusive travel for students. I've talked myself out of a Celtic tattoo. Most surprisingly, 1 year from now, I finally like the taste of beer. When I get back from Blarney, I crack open a cold Harp lager. The lighthouses on the Dublin Bay are almost visible from where I'm laying in St. Anne's Park. I've lost track of time reading Emma Danbury's book From Hodges Vegas. Just like me, she also documents cultural clash and global historical legacies. She grew up in Dublin, and I wonder if when she wrote Don't Touch My Hair, she imagined a Black American girl sprawled out on a picnic blanket on the edge of the city, eagerly devouring it. Truthfully, I didn't see myself here either. The Go Overseas Scholarship has gifted me an amazing life. My change in palate, reflects a deeper shift in priorities, taste, and perspective. My love of human connection and obsession with authenticity have allowed me to embark on a new learning journey. I've become the person I always imagined, a global citizen, a life learner, an innovation enthusiast, a storyteller who is curating her own story, full of surprises. Thank you. I also want to talk about my vision board. I made it on Canva. Shout out to Canva, love it. I have a sister, her name's Chinema, and she's a graphic designer. She is phenomenal. So in making my vision board, I went and I asked her, how do you translate what's in your head onto paper? And so she told me that the design process is almost spiritual, and that it's really important that you bring emotion and really concentrate when you're designing, because you have the ability to translate thoughts into things simply by curating a certain set of visuals. And so I will try and insert a picture of my vision board here and kind of talk about the different elements based on the board. So I'm going to start at the top. I want to talk about narrative and the power of narrative. There's this quote that I love, and it says, "Stories matter. Many stories matter. Stories have been used to dispossess and malign, but stories have been also used to empower and humanize." I hope these words would capture what I hope to do when relating to people while abroad, because I think there's a lot of power in sharing stories and narratives and lived experience. Next to it, I have a map of Ireland. Under it, I have a picture, and it's from a newspaper clipping. And because I want to study race, migration, and decolonial studies, it's also important to understand that art and activism go hand in hand. I also put a small sign from the Blarney Stone, which I do hope to visit, next to it, and it corresponded with my essay. Next to it, I have the picture of Emma Dabiri, and she is an amazing Nigerian Irish author. She wrote "Don't Touch My Hair" and a lot of other books investigating the section of race and society. She is an inspiration to me, and I think especially understanding that the Black experience is rich and full and vibrant, and changes depending on where you are. I think her work is really pivotal. Under that, I have a picture of a tattoo of the world, and I actually have a tattoo myself of a globe underneath my arm, and it really represents for me a global mindset, and having it really etched into the fabric of my being and who I am and what makes me. I have a picture of bangers and mash, and I think it'd be interesting to juxtapose my understanding of food and culture with what I experience in Ireland, especially since I'm Nigerian American. Next to that, I have the official tartan and a really amazing book that I've read recently called Normal People, written by an Irish author. So in this idea of like celebrating Irish literature and the seminal works coming out for our generation, because Normal People is definitely a book for millennials, Gen Z, etc. So in the middle is a big piece. At the bottom, I wrote "Contributing new perspectives to a developing field." So I am attempting to continue the study that I started at UCL. I want to produce work that interrogates current constructs. So on the other side, I have a symbol of UCD. So I've applied to UCD. I also have an emblem from Trinity, because Trinity had a similar program, Race, Migration, and Conflict, although I've opted for the decolonial studies. I have a picture of me, and next to it I have the words "Becoming my most authentic self." So these words really correlate with the photo for me, because it's me without makeup, without hair, etc. And really, I aim to show up as my fullest self every day, all day, unapologetically. A little bit lower is the Celtic symbol. So the Celtic symbol is called the Owen. I hope I'm not mispronouncing it, but it has the 3 lines and the 3 dots. There's a lot of different interpretations for it, but the interpretation that I felt resonated most with me is mind, body, and spirit. And also, the second interpretation is love, wisdom, and truth. Under that, I have a picture of a libation, and I really want to go to the Guinness Storehouse while in Dublin. I think it'd be really cool to get my certificate of brewery, I think that's what they have. I want to be a community-focused lifelong learner. And so as somebody who has had a hand in global health and done some grassroots work, I really value lived experience. I value communities should center communities and center the voices of those in the communities, especially those who've been historically marginalized. It's important in the Irish context, because there has been a history of there has been a history of denigration. I'm really eager to explore that in my course. And I will always use my education to amplify the voices of those who've been minoritized. So underneath that, in the small little corner, I have a textbook, Migration in Society. I'm really excited to read. I'm a book lover, and next to that I have another piece of art by Alexis Chavir-Claire, some cool abstract art for a bit of decoration, and the last image is of a hiking trail. So I really love hiking. When I was an undergrad, I was a part of this organization called Soul Track Outdoors, and it aimed to have people of color in the Washington, D.C. area get outdoors more often, get outside of the concrete jungle. It's started by an amazing guy called Tyree Moore, and I really want to continue in the spirit of connecting with people to celebrate the great outdoors. So that is the end of my vision. I am just so grateful to go overseas, for seeing my vision and deciding to invest in it, and believing that storytelling and interconnectedness is essential for the human experience. So I also saw a lot of other applicants' vision boards, and they were just phenomenal. So I'm really, really thankful for the opportunity to continue my education in Ireland. Words can't express the way that my heart is rejoicing. So thank you so much. I will try my best to make you guys proud.